What is up, guys? Boris here, coming to you guys with a really awesome video. For those of you guys who are playing the global version of One Piece Treasure Cruise, today I'm going to be running down all of the future content that you guys can expect to receive. Pretty much, what does Japan have that global doesn't have at the moment? This will primarily help you guys out on planning what kind of events to farm, what kind of legends or Sugofests to pull on. I want to help you guys out. And of course, because I will be talking about future characters, if you do not want to get spoiled on the game, I would go ahead and exit out now. But I think this will be a helpful video for all the global players out there. So let's go ahead and get started with the first slide that I have right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and get started right away with the upcoming Lucy Sugo Fest. Coliseum Lucy Dressrosa Sugo Fest. It hasn't been announced on global yet, but many people are speculating that because this is the next one and anniversary is right around the corner, that this will be the next global Sugo Fest, and it'll probably be during anniversary, which is awesome because Legend Lucy right now is one of the best, if not the best legend on JP, and it would be an awesome opportunity for as many global players as possible to get this guy. He's just amazing. And his batch is also very good. It's one of the better batches that we've seen in the game. All 4 units are very useful. I've seen plenty of play. I'm going to do a quick rundown real quick. Diamante is really good at getting rid of certain types of shields. So he's a debuffer. We have Barto, who does similar to what Barto's done in the past. He's able to reduce damage. I think he also reduces defense. I'm not too sure. Coliseum, not Coliseum, sorry. Yeah, I guess Coliseum Burgess. He's not a Coliseum character, but Burgess from the Coliseum. This rare recruit's really good. He's just a powerful character. Does conditional boosts. Conditional boosters seem to be where the meta has shifted on Japan. So if you're on global, expect to be putting a lot more conditional boosters on your teams, as that really is the way to go. Bosses are having more and more HP every day, so you're gonna need all the boosts possible to take them out. And conditional boosts are really nice. Speaking of that, Cavendish, the MVP. If you try to get one character from this batch, is Cavendish. He's just amazing, a great conditional booster. On top of that, he pairs really well with a Boa sister, Sandersonia. Also on top of that, pairs really well with the ship, the Vanderdecken ship, which reduces defense. So you have a lot of possibilities. He's a strong character. If you notice, well, I guess you can't really tell from this, but all these characters are either blue or green. That's so they can pair up with Lucy. So there's actually no yellow or purple characters in this batch, which is a little bit interesting. But that is because Legend Lucy only pairs well with red, blue, and green. So again, if you can pull, if you've been saving your gems up to this point, this is going to be the banner to pull on. This is going to be the #1 guaranteed banner that you want to go in on. You want to get that Lucy. Once you get him, the game will become a lot more, you could say easier, but it's a lot more fun. He's a very fun captain to use, and you can use a lot of characters on the team. So that is the first thing that should be coming up on global if everything pans out in order. Keep in mind, though, throughout this video, guys, that global does things in whatever order they want to do it in. So things could definitely get out of order here, but assuming everything goes the same, Lucy should be up in February for the anniversary. Now, the next slide that I want to show you guys is the upcoming Coliseum characters. Now, one thing I do want to note is that Global has sort of skipped a few Coliseums. I believe they just got Nekomamushi, so definitely you're playing around with the Coliseum order, but these are pretty much the ones that we need to be focused on. First off, starting with Coliseum Lucy, which on Japan came out at the same time as Coliseum Lucy, the Sugofest version. And those two pair really well together. These are all 50 stamina, by the way, I believe. The thing about Lucy, I'll call him Lucy, Lucy, whatever you want to call him, that makes him really good is that he has 3 different abilities. A 20% HP cut that goes through barriers. He's a 1.75 orb booster, and he manipulates orbs, making that all matching orbs if you're using a Lucy team, because Lucy, I believe, makes a green and blue beneficial. So really a must-have unit. Even if you don't have Legend Lucy, I would recommend farming him anyways. He's very powerful. With Limit Break, he gets some pretty ridiculous stats. He gets a really crazy crit, I believe. Overall, I just recommend farming him. That is one thing I guess this video won't cover is the Limit Break material. You can check out my previous videos on limit breaking if you want to know what that is, but that should be a mechanic coming really soon to global, potentially in the next few weeks if it does follow the order. And limit breaking is going to change the game. I don't want to go too much into it in this video because it's more about the future units of the game, but keep that in mind when talking about this, because farmable characters, you should always be able to limit break them a lot easier than rare recruits, that's for sure. So next up, we also have a few more Coliseums that are really pretty cool. We have Sicilian Coliseum, a 2x int orb booster, type booster, sorry. 2 times int type booster, I believe. He might be, I'm pretty sure he's a type booster, but I want to highlight this because it will represent the sort of resurge of int teams. There's a few int characters that got released on JP recently that have really made us question whether or not int is actually a legitimate team. There's definitely some really powerful effects out there to do with that. I'll talk about that later. We also have Coliseum Rayleigh, who's really good if you have Legend Boa. I believe he makes tandem and food orbs into matching orbs. And also conditional booster. So again, what I say earlier, conditional booster is going to be very important. And on top of that, you have the recently released Coliseum Enel. He's really cool because he's a 0.7 booster if your captain is driven. So 0.7 chain booster, that's pretty high. That's a good amount of damage, significant difference. And I believe that he also gets rid of certain debuffs. So really awesome characters. Again, out of these 4, I'd highly recommend prioritizing the Coliseum Luffy/Lucy. He's very good. And Nell's also really good. I recommend farming him. You could potentially skip Sicilian. He's not that, I mean, if the int team ever does become a thing, you can farm him, but so far he hasn't really seen too much play. And Rayleigh, I would definitely farm if you do plan on using a shooter team, which I did get buffs in some ways. I'll talk about that later as well. So overall, those are my picks for Coliseum. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, here are the 4 adventure mode units that have been released so far. Now, what is adventure mode? If you're a global player, you won't know this because of the fact that this has not been released yet, but this is an entirely new mode that should be coming in the next few months for global if they follow the Japan pattern. And these characters, you can be farmed exclusively through doing the adventure mode. It's a week-long event where you try to grind for points. If you get enough points, you can completely max out these characters. They are pretty much free legends in a sense. Some of them are legend level. Their specials are very, very powerful. You can use them as captains. And it's just really, really recommend that you farm these. Please do not miss these if you can. Now, the first one I want to talk about is, of course, Mihawk. He was the first one that came out. He instantly made slasher teams a lot more powerful than in the past. He pairs really well with certain other characters, and I really just shows how powerful these adventure mode characters are. Whitebeard himself, he's also pretty powerful, though I'd probably say either him or Cavendish are the weaker of the two. Whitebeard is really pretty much used for clearing out mobs since his special goes through barriers. So he pretty much is an AoE special that goes through barriers. And he has pretty good stats. Remember, guys, if you max these out, that includes limit breaks. So they end up having some pretty good attack. And then Cavendish is nice for driven boosting. He work similar to the Legend Cavendish, who gets rid of all your positive buffs. So he's one of the few characters that can do that in the game. And on top of that, he will put up attack and an orb boost for driven units. Driven has really become one of the stronger teams on JP. Definitely expect that to be happening on Global in a few months. He's an awesome addition to that team. And the Gear 4, that was a special event. Instead of a 1-week event, it was a 3-day event, but it's pretty easy to get him. They give you a ton of points. And he's just awesome. He does like 600,000 damage with his special alone. A 1.75 affinity booster that you can pretty much drop on any team. Really, really awesome. He's a must-have. He's definitely a must-have. Affinity booster, like I said, just another way to boost up your team, which is really important right now in JP. Adventure mode, look forward to it, guys. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, when we approach that on Global, I'll make some more videos on that. But for now, just remember to look out for these guys. So next up, guys, these are the raids that have yet to come to Global. Starting with General Frankie. That guy is pretty old on JP. He's been around for a long time. Surprised Global still hasn't gotten him. But there's definitely one that's missing. We also have the Raid Caesar, Raid Sanji, and we have Raid Barto. So out of these guys, I'd say the best one is definitely the Raid Sanji. He's a 2x powerhouse booster. If you limit break him, he actually makes food orbs beneficial for your entire team. So definitely limit break this guy if you can, because that's a real awesome sailor effect. He's one of the tougher raid bosses. He's a 60 stamina, but definitely recommend farming him. Frankie is weird at that. He gets rid of some enemy buffs, gives a 1.5 boost. You could potentially use him as a captain, as he's a little bit of a quirky captain, but overall, I just wouldn't worry about him. Caesar, he's a 1.75 orb booster for 2 different classes, poisons, and he's int. So again, he's one of those int characters that they've been releasing recently. A lot of powerful int characters. I don't know how much I would value Caesar at the moment. Again, hasn't really seen play. And Barto, he could definitely see use. He's a damage reducer below. He's pretty much a HP cutter, or damage cutter. which is really awesome. You know, those are kind of rare. Also heals and does some other things too. So I'd say out of the future raid bosses, look forward to Sanji, which actually should be coming relatively soon. I assume he's not out on, I hope he's not out on global, but yeah, I'll look forward to Sanji. The other ones, they're not that exciting. I think Barto is definitely a farm if you can, but other than that, definitely look forward to Sanji, although he is a little bit difficult, so I'd be kind of careful when farming him. Now, as for returning raid bosses, we have these 4 are going to be getting Kai forms. Kai, if you don't know, it just means they're different colors. They come back. They're tougher to fight, but you have some really awesome rewards if you manage to complete them a certain number of times. The Kai raid bosses this time around are pretty interesting. Definitely farm them if you can. Pika, I believe he's red. The Kuma is purple. Again, keep that in mind. So more purple units, really interesting. And Akainu is purple as well, making that a purple color affinity booster. So you have some pretty powerful powerful purple units as I've demonstrated so far. Again, I think Bandit's trying to push that color. It's sort of been weak for a long time. I don't know how much it actually pushed it. Again, it's not being seen that much on JP, but hey man, if we need purple, if we're fighting maybe a yellow boss, there's definitely a team there, especially for free-to-play players. He's really awesome. And the most recent one was actually Kai Enel, who is a 2x Dex booster, so now he boosts green instead of blue. But the thing I want to note about Kai Enel is that every time you fought him, he dropped 2 times 10 cotton candy. So you got 20 cotton candy per run. I was able to do buggy on one of the 3 difficulties. Or one of the 3 different class restrictions. As you can, I think I uploaded the video. So I was potentially getting up to 40 cotton candy per run. It was pretty crazy. Or no, I think I just duped 1, but up to 30. I think you also get a socket book every run. It was really awesome. I hope that the rest of the Kai raids in the future are like that, because that made it a lot more fun to farm. And overall, guys, just definitely, again, pick up the Kai raid bosses. There's so many times where I want to put these guys on the team, but I don't, their colors don't really match up. When I have the Kai version, it actually helps out. And with so many units now requiring color restrictions for their captain effects, it's definitely not a bad idea to have as many possible options as you can. So these are the future Kai raids. Look forward to them because they're really awesome. Now, speaking of Kai bosses, JP introduced the concept of Kai Coliseum. So we get 50 stamina Coliseums returning in their Kai forms. And they're pretty difficult. They've been returned with a 1 or 0 stamina island that if you complete 3 times, you can get free gems and a bunch of free material and stuff like that. But they're really, really difficult. It pretty much requires zombieing. So I look forward to that. If that's something you're interested in, free-to-play players, that's pretty cool. But overall, are they worth farming? They're not too bad. Kinemon pretty much is the same thing as the old Kinemon, except that there's no HP restriction anymore, so you can use them at any point. And then the Kai Killer, I think he down has 3 orbs, turns into matching on slashers and strikers instead of 2. So now I think it's red, blue, and green. So, they're not too bad. I don't think I farmed Killer, but they're definitely an option there. And like I said, they do come with that really cool 0 stamina or 1 stamina island that you can try out. It's a lot of fun just to run it. Will you clear it or not? That's the question. And if you manage to clear it, you get some pretty nice rewards. So that's it for this one. Hopefully they'll do some more Kai Coliseums in the future. Now, guys, it's time to talk about the Germa 66 batch. This is the batch that comes after the Lucy Coliseum batch. And this one is really interesting because it introduces a new mechanic. Each one of the 4 rare recruits that you can pull in this are part of the Germa 66, and as so, they get boosted if you have a judge as your captain. Now, what do I mean by that? Pretty much they have 2 different effects for their special, and they each require a certain thing to activate. So the first one is if your captain is a powerhouse captain, one of the effects will activate. And then the other effect activates if your captain is either yellow or their matching colors. So for instance, if you're using Ichiji, the red unit, and you're using Judge, then that means that both of his effects will activate because you have a powerhouse captain and it's yellow or red. You can have a red powerhouse character like Lucci as your captain, and again, both of his effects would activate. Now, what this means is that you can make a team dedicated entirely to the Germa 66, having double judge, captain, lead, and then the 4 siblings underneath. And that is actually one of the dream teams on Japan at the moment. It's capable of just some ridiculous things. However, it requires having all of the units. I personally still not pull Judge, and I'm hoping to really pull him because it's so powerful. There are other replacements that you could do in a sense. Yellow Powerhouse is not rare, but at the same time it's not common. So you know, keep that in mind. But it's just Judge is really powerful. You see him, definitely consider him one of the top 3 legends in the game at the moment. I think a lot of people do, besides Lucy and another legend I'll talk about in a little bit. He's definitely top 3 in my opinion. And the units themselves, again, they're not bad. You don't have to run them with Judge. You can definitely run them with other units like Gear 4. I believe they're all fighters, so that's definitely one option. But overall, in my opinion, I would just I'll definitely try to pull for these guys. I mean, I would definitely try to pull for Judge. Make sure to pull for Lucy first, though, and then if you have enough gems, maybe you recovered. There's going to be another great batch to pull. All these guys are really powerful, and they actually have really nice limit breaks. All of these, all these 4 rare recruits all have nice limit breaks. So definitely keep that in mind when looking at this batch. You know, I'm still hoping I pull him one day, but if he does come out on global, guys, I wish you guys good luck. Now, after those 2 batches comes the Fujitora Dressrosa batch. This is the next Dressrosa batch. And this one has some really interesting units. For starters, Kyros is one of the best rare recruits of all time. He has a effect similar to the rare recruit Rob Bellucci. So if you do not know what he does, his Sailor effect will boost the attack of all your units. And not the attack, but when you attack, it'll do additional damage based on Kyros' attack. Which actually enables really awesome things like Belly Cave to be ran very easily with Double Violet. And Belly Cave, I know, might be a joke to a lot of you guys on Global. But on JP, limit breaking made us all go broke. We have to constantly be running Belly Cave to refill. He's a 3-turn slasher booster for 1.75, so he pretty much makes 3-2 White Zoro completely outdated. And it also made Legend Zoro outdated for a while. So definitely really awesome character. You should definitely pick him up. He's great, and again, perfect for a slasher team. Now, as for the other 3 characters, they're not that good. This is one of the weaker batches for sure. I'll probably consider maybe skipping this batch if you're a free-to-play player. Definitely, yeah, I'd probably say skip this batch. Or if you are a pay-to-play, I wouldn't go too hard on this batch. Let's see, Rebecca and Violet, they're sort of utility units. They do some nice things. You know, they get rid of a few buffs and debuffs and stuff like that. But for the most part, nothing too crazy. And Bellamy, I think he's a debuffer for your opponent. So nothing too crazy. And Fujitora himself, he's one of the most recently released legends, but he's not as... I wouldn't put him top 3, which is another reason why you should skip this, because Fujitora is good, especially with combining him with the adventure mode Mihawk. But overall, his power level is just not up there with the top 3 in my opinion. He's really awesome. His special pretty much makes it all your orbs on your slashers matching if you have a Fujitora as a captain or a friend captain. And then on top of that, delays for 1 turn, so you can enable some really awesome conditional boosts with that. And he also does 10 times his attack, 20 times, something like that. So 200 times damage essentially to a bunch of enemies. So a pretty nice effect. But again, he's not on par with the other units. So this is definitely a skippable batch. I'd say definitely pull for Lucy. Pull for Judge if you have gems. He's definitely worth it if you pull him. Fuji you can definitely skip. If you pull him, he's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. He's still pretty strong. He's sort of like Log Luffy. We have to hit good, great, perfect to get like a ×4 point something boost. But even without hitting that, just base line, he's like a 3.2 boost or something crazy. He's really good. He's really good, but he's just not top 3 level, at least according to all the tier lists going around. So again, this is a skippable batch. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. Now these next 2 units, I have them in their own slide because they're sort of weird. So first off, we have a new legend. So after Legend Fuji comes Legend Rayleigh. This guy is very powerful, but he does not come with a batch, so I put him on the slide. I'll talk about him in a little bit. We also have Invasion Garp, who's the next inline invasion for Global, but he's very powerful. I'm going to warn you guys, it's going to be a really difficult time taking him on when he does come out. And the thing about Garp that makes him really awesome is that you definitely want to pick him up because, one, he's a decent fighter captain, so if you don't have Gear 4, you know, you didn't manage to get him during the event, or during the Sugo Fest, you could potentially use him as a fighter captain, although fighters, again, they're never been that good, and they're still pretty bad. But he is a 30% HP cut, which is good, but if your opponent is at 25% or lower, it's an insta-kill. So he's sugar, but instead of having them at 20%, you can have them at 25%, which really works really well with some calculations, with some HP cuts, like maybe Fujitora HP cut or Magellan HP cuts. Works really well because you don't have to get him below 20%, which you know will actually kill you in most cases against a lot of bosses. So you get him to around 25%, and then you can insta-kill them. Really awesome. Definitely want to try to get this guy if you can. And he reduces defense by 100%, by the way. So if you want to combo that into conditional boost, that's another thing you can do. In terms of Rayleigh, what he can do, he's really, really powerful. He's a 3.5 captain with an increased chance of matching orbs. Rainbow captain, by the way, so you can use anyone on the team. If you're below 30, though. If you're above 30, I believe he's only a 2.5 booster. But getting below 30 should not be that big of a problem. On top of that, though, his special is really insane, and the main reason you want to pull for him, he's a 3 times chain locker. So locks your chain at 3, which is the highest chain lock in the game, I believe. He also does a lot of other things. Actually, let me pull it up. Okay, so here we go. He's going to deal 200,000 fixed damage to one enemy that will ignore barriers. I already said the 3 times chain multiplier lock. He amplifies orbs by 1.75 for 1 turn. If your HP is below 30%, then reduce damage by 95%, and then on top of that changes recovery, tandem, empty, and block orbs into matching orbs. So Rayleigh has maybe the best special in the game in terms of utility. 3 times chain lock, again, no other character has that. 1.75 orb boost. You have orb manipulation, you have damage reduction. It just has everything you need in there. This is crazy. And by the way, 200,000 fixed damage that goes through barriers. So really, really awesome. If you can pull for him, I don't know if I would. I would try to maybe pull him in a future Sugo batch. He's really good, but there's an upcoming batch that I'm going to talk about here in a second that I would highly recommend you wait for. Now, this is, at the moment, the most powerful legend in the game. I'm not saying he's the best legend, because I still think Lucy is the best legend, but in terms of powerful legends, Dofi's special is insane. And I'll explain to you why in a little bit, but this is the Dressrosa. This probably is the final Dressrosa batch, not too sure if it will be, but this is the Doflamingo batch. Doflamingo V2, a crazy legend. What is he capable of? Let me explain to you. First of all, he's a 3.9 captain if you have a matching orb on. You have to have 6 driven units, which is a big requirement. 6 restriction, 6 driven units. But if you do, then if they have a matching orb, it's a 3.9 boost. If not, then it's still a 3.25 boost, I believe. On top of that, he's going to make blue and green beneficial, just like Legend Lucy, so they're very similar in that case. And on top of that, he makes red orbs less likely to show up, which is awesome for him because obviously you don't want green with red orbs. So what makes his special so unique is that he's going to do 200 times the damage that you did in the previous turn of overkill. Now, what do I mean? If a unit has 5,000 HP and you deal 100,000, that's 95,000 damage of overkill. And then Dofi would do 2 times that. Now, with 2 Dofis, that you're doing 400 times. It's pretty insane. To put that into perspective, guys, when Intalk came out, he would do 50% of the damage that you dealt last turn. Dofi does 4 times that, assuming you burst on a room with all mobs. He does pretty much just 4 times that. Again, it's only overkill damage, so keep that in mind. But I've seen him do some ridiculous numbers. He is by far right now one of the most powerful legends. He's definitely top 3 alongside Judge and alongside Legend Lucy. And this is a batch that you definitely want to pull on. Now, the other thing that makes this batch so powerful is that all of these guys, they pretty much have really awesome sailor effects that make certain orbs beneficial for Driven. So not only does Dofi already make blue and green beneficial, but then you have other ones doing different things with their sailor effects once you limit break them. And you're looking pretty much having all matching orbs all the time. At a 3.9 boost, you have probably the most powerful captain at the moment. The only problem, again, being is very restrictive. You can only run driven units, so keep that in mind. Now, as to what these guys do, Treble is probably the all-star. A 2 times driven boost if you have all driven units. Really powerful, and as well as a debuffer, so it gets rid of a bunch of stuff. I believe Senior Pink is also a debuffer. Is decent. Sugar actually is a 1.75 orb booster for Driven for 3 turns and locks orbs. And then Pika, he's a 25% HP cut with, again, some reduces some bind, I think, for 4 turns or something crazy. So this batch is amazing. So if to sum up this, because this is the most recent Sugofest, well, Sugofest batch, I should say. I'm going to sum up the 3 that you should pull on. You should pull on Lucy, you should pull on Judge, and you should pull on Dofi. Now, I have to prioritize them. Definitely pull on Luffy, what I prioritize as number 1. Dofi, I would probably prioritize as number 2. And then Judge, I would prioritize as number 3. You could probably skip, like I said, the Fujitora batch, unless you have a lot of gems at the time. But these are the batches that you want to go for. Now, that is it for batches. There is another legend that I'll talk about in a little bit, but for now I'm going to move on to the 6+ units. So these are the upcoming 6+ units, guys. There are a lot of them. I know that Global just got Aokiji 6+, which is really good. So I'm going to go over the upcoming ones and whether or not I think they're worth it. So first off are Shanks and Sengoku. Shanks and Sengoku, I think, are the weakest of this whole batch. Definitely Sengoku, in my opinion, is completely trash, which sucks because if you guys know, I'm a big fan of Sengoku as a legend. I used to use him as one of my main teams. Now he's just trash, unfortunately. He got a little bit of a boost as he boosts the fodder units on his team a little bit more, and now his special gives the fodder units matching orbs, but still not good enough to even put him on the map. Shanks is decent now that he has a lower cooldown, so now his ability procs at 14 turns. The problem being is that he makes all orbs into Psi orbs, which has turned out to be a huge problem when trying to use this guy. I've tried to use this guy so many times, and the fact that he changes all your orbs into Psi really, you would think it'd be a good thing, but it's actually a really bad thing. Now, in terms of the other ones, Ace is interesting. He became a 2x shooter booster, which is amazing because shooters needed that. But the problem is that now they don't have a chain locker, so now they missed out on chain. And people have started to still, well, actually people are sticking with Boa V2 still as their legend of choice over Ace. So shooter's still not that good of a team. I don't know if you're deciding on a character to 6+, maybe you only have 10k Rayleigh points or something like that, or you're trying to farm. I wouldn't worry too much about Ace. He hasn't really been that useful, but you never know. He could still be pretty good in the future because he is a 2x booster for shooter teams. Next up is we have Mihawk. Mihawk, he had a little bit of a boost. Instead of doing 50% like he originally did, it's now 60% at his level 2, when I think it got a turn of reduction. So Intalk's still one of the most unique specials in the game. Got better stats, all that. I think his captain ability got improved as well. So definitely a character that you could use. That's probably one of the better ones so far. These last 4 are pretty much all good. These last 4 are all good. So starting with Intalk. Next up is Hody Jones 6+. He's also very, very good. I've actually been using Hody Jones a lot. Now, in terms of what he does, I don't actually know because I pulled him as soon as his 6+ came out. But all I know is that he's a beast. His special pretty much does massive damage to the whole board, lowers cooldowns, and his special also starts off your cooldowns a lot lower. So he's just a really powerful captain. I would just use him if you can get him. Definitely worth evolving. Same thing with Zoro and Law. So Zoro got rid of his condition for his captain effect. Now he's a 3x slasher captain no matter what. And also a 1.5 HP boost, which is, again, is a huge deal. On top of that, his main weakness was that if you weren't using him as a captain, he did not get a 2x boost for slashers. He only did a 1.75, which, again, at that point you might as well run Kyros from the new batch. But the thing about it though is now he got a 2.5 chain lock on top of that, which instantly makes him crazy good. Like Zoro, definitely one of my MVPs for most improved in terms of 6+, which was surprising because OG Zoro Legend was still very good. So he definitely got a huge boost. I've been using him a lot lately. And Law V2 6+. He is really awesome because he is a cerebral captain, similar to Zoro, very similar to Zoro, 3x I believe boost. The thing about him though is that cerebral captains up to this point have been all about being at very, very low HP. But Law gives you a lot of HP, so he's sort of the complete opposite. So at the moment, even though I think he's very, very good, there's a lot of conflicting things about it. Now he's a very powerful, I believe he's a 2.25 orb booster for cerebral. So he's sort of competing with Dofi for a slot there. At the moment, there's a lot of cerebral orb boosters. They definitely need some more variety in their abilities. He also does like a ton of damage to all the units, and I think he gets rid of barriers for 1 turn. I'm not too sure about that. But Law V2 6+, very, very powerful, and especially considering that there is a new unit coming up very soon I'll talk about, that will actually go really well with him. So overall, these are the units to look forward to. Again, I would probably say Zoro and Hody and Law. Yeah, Zoro, Hody, and Law. Those 3, in my opinion, the most important to 6+. Inthawk is very good, and Ace, potentially. He might prefer Ace actually as a 6-star, thinking about it. So maybe you want to keep him as a 6-star. And then Shanks, if you have the skull, go for it. Don't worry too much about it. Sengoku, I'm just so sad about Sengoku. So unfortunately, that's how it is. But really, some really awesome 6+ coming up in the future. And finally, guys, to end off the video, I want to talk about what's going on currently on JP right now. This is stuff that has not been released yet, well, except for Frankie, who just released yesterday. But this is brand new stuff. Don't expect this to be coming to global anytime soon. This is very far in the distance. So this is the last slide here. Is stuff that's the future, you know, the very far into the future. First off, we have the brand new Adventure Mode Ace. It's really good, really awesome. We have 2 new 6+ units, so 6+ Crocodile and 6+ Barto coming soon to JP. And we have the brand new Legend Frankie that was just dropped. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about all of these. So for starters, the brand new Legend Frankie is a very unique unit. You might have seen videos about it already, but that's because he turns into the Frankie Shogun. Everybody in your team loads onto the Frankie Shogun, and then he does something based on their type. It's really interesting mechanic. I'm going to explain about it a little bit just to make it more clear, but there's videos out there if you want to see how it works. But pretty much, he is a 3x captain booster, and I believe 1.3 HP if for all 4 of the original classes, so fighter, striker, impact, and shooter. So if you have to have all those 4 on the team. I'm not sure if you have to have exact. I'm thinking you have to have exactly all 4, like Blackbeard, but those are the ones you have to have. So you can only have those guys. But that's a big part of the roster. And the way he works is that depending on who you attack with when you activate his captain action, which is something different like Legend Sanji, when you activate his captain action, depending on who you attack with, depending on their type, he'll do a different thing. So maybe he'll do AoE, maybe he'll attack a single row, maybe he'll attack everyone, maybe he'll attack with just one person, but with boosted damage. It's really awesome. And on top of that, his special is a 2x boost to all those classes. So fighters finally have a 2x booster. He's great. I really wanted to pull him. Unfortunately, I couldn't get him. Next up is 6+ Crocodile, who's really he got a huge boost in terms of his special. His special used to be a 2x boost to Cerebral, but you have to be below a certain threshold, right? For this one, he is now a 2x boost to no threshold, and he's a 20% HP cut to all enemies. Really awesome. Again, I want to use him definitely with the 6+ Law V2, because Law V2, again, the problem is they're conflicting. Law V2 wants to have a lot of HP, whereas Crocodile and Inuarashi want to have low HP. But now, getting rid of the HP threshold means that you can have a lot of HP to tank hits and have a huge boost still. So that's really awesome. I can't wait to super evolve him. And then Barto is really awesome as well because he is now driven instead of a striker. He's a 3x driven and impact unit. Now this is awesome because I don't have Fujitora V1, I don't have Dofi V2, and I also don't have Judge. So I'm missing pretty much all the good ambition captains. I don't have a good ambition or driven captain at the moment. He's going to be my go-to. Can't wait to super evolve him. And then on top of that, we have a brand new Adventure Ace, who seems to be like, he might be one of the better Adventure Mode Islands. I mean, there's only been 5 so far, including him, but he just looks amazing. He changes all orbs to red and makes red beneficial for red, blue, and yellow. And then on top of that, boosts them all by, I think, 1.75. So really awesome captain effect. I mean, special, and he has a decent captain effect as well. These Adventure Mode units, guys, are the best way if you're a free-to-play player to advance your game, to clear the end game content. You don't want to miss out on these, and I personally can't wait to be running them. I think he starts actually in a few hours. I know I said that in my Sugo video, but I do believe he starts in a few hours. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Just again, a sneak peek at what's coming up in the future. My overall thoughts, again, Lucy Sugo, Dofi Sugo, and Judge Sugo are the ones you should pull on. I would skip the Fujitora Sugo. I wouldn't really pull for when those single legends come out. If you are very conservative with your gems, I give you a good example, a good showing of what the future 6+s are, what you should spend your skulls on if you want to buy them with 10k points. Although again, I always recommend farming them. And sort of hopefully you got a good understanding of where the power level is going in the game. So with that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you guys in the next video, and until then, peace.